Welcome to episode 7 of Geno's Guys. As always, I'm your host, Connor, joined by Andrew and a new host today, Kyle, who's going to be joining us periodically during the 2024-25 season. We are Geno's Guys, and we're talking about the biggest game the Huskies have had so far this season, a game against North Carolina, recapping it, a 69-58 win for the Huskies. Not really on the road, technically, but they had to go down to Greensboro to take on UNC, so I'm calling it on the road. I mean, this was a game early on. The Huskies built out a big lead, and the Tar Heels kind of fought back in the second half, but they never really got close enough to really take it. Paige Bueckers was awesome, 29 points in this one to lead the team. Sarah Strong had her best game as a Husky. We'll talk about her in a little bit, but what was your guys' thoughts from this game as a whole? Because this was the first time we've seen the Huskies against I'll call them capable opponent this season because we've only really played weak cupcakes. But what was your guys' thoughts from this one? Great game.
I mean, yeah, this was a really great game. It was really great to see, everybody do good, but this was the Paige Bueckers game. I mean, she took over four threes, 12 of 21 from the field, and she just played 37 minutes, so nearly the entire game. And she just completely took over. Nobody was stopping her. I mean, 29 points is just it's unbelievable, especially against the 14th ranked team in the country on the road. Like that doesn't speak to the type of player she is. I don't know what would.
Yeah, no, it's pretty clear this is Paige Becker's game. I was going through Twitter after the game, and I mean, it was just exploded with Paige Becker's content. But yeah, I mean, it was all Paige Becker's and Strong, and I know Jana didn't step up as much this past game, um, but I do believe that Jana and Sarah Strong, the combination of the two of them this season is a huge, huge plus with Leah Edwards gone. Um, I think the two of them down low is just like undefeated. Um, but yeah, Paige Beckers, I mean, 29 is ridiculous.
Yeah, back to that front court point. We were worried about, I wouldn't say worried. I always say the word worried, but I'm not like afraid. But we were concerned the most about the front court with Leah Edwards gone. We know what we're getting from Paige and the guards, but what are we getting from the big men, the big woman down low? But Sarah Strong, 14 points, 13 rebounds, 6 assists, 5 blocks, stuff in the stat sheet, 6 assists as well. I called her baby Jokic in that last episode. I kind of like that comparison, and she's helping me out with the 6 assists there. She did go 0 for 7 from three, but like, I mean, we still won the game. We don't need her to hit those. Maybe her going 0 for 7 shows her that may not be where we need her most from distance, but 7 to 19 from the field overall, playing 38 minutes. And I mentioned in my player to watch for the last one that I'm pretty sure I chose Sarah Strong. I said, I want to see how she does against real competition. And she just played her best game out of the three she's played. So really happy to see that. Who else haven't we? We only talked about two people. Caitlin Chen is up next. She scored 9 points. She did foul out of this one, but still had 3 assists. Did a nice job kind of handling the ball when Paige was out. Ashlyn Shade, only 3 points in this one. She had a quiet night based on what she's done so far this season, but she just didn't really get the look. She only took 6 shots, so I'm not concerned with that low point total. She did have 2 steals, which were both pretty key. Ice Brady, 9 points, 9 rebounds, so close to the double double. She's someone who didn't have the greatest start to the season either. That opening night game wasn't great for her. Going back to the Fort Hays State game, she wasn't that great in that one either. She was solid in the last one against South Florida, but this was her best performance. 2 blocks as well, 9 points, 9 rebounds, 2 blocks. Not much production from the bench. J.K. Arnold, 2 points. Geno Alfie only played 12 minutes. Like you said, not much from her, Kyle, but she did have 3 points, 4 assists, and a block. And then the two freshmen, Zybel and Shelley, each played a total of 8 minutes, so they weren't really factors in this one either.
I mean, this team's depth already is just like I feel like it's a sign of relief after last year and honestly the year before that. And reminder that this is also without three incredibly talented players. I mean, the 11-point win really doesn't speak much for what that game actually was. It definitely could have been, 18 or maybe even 19 points, but you don't really need those huge wins against a team like that. You don't want to risk anybody getting hurt. But I mean, this team's depth is just unreal. We had our bench players not do so good. The two freshmen, Arnold and Al Alfie, and we still pretty much took care of this team. So I think this team's honest. Like I've said this probably a million times. I don't see a world where this team doesn't win the national championship.
Yeah, I mean, this UConn team this year for the women's is definitely one of the deeper teams, maybe the deepest team Geno's ever had. I don't know. I know that's probably a bold take being he's in 40 years of coaching, and I don't know that much to date that far back, but I'd imagine this is definitely one of Geno's deeper teams. I feel like there's a lot. He just has every weapon, and for whatever however he wants to play the game, I feel like he just has it. Um, from front court to back court to small ball to, I mean, I don't know, he just has it all this year.
Yeah, back to Andrew's point about the players being out. I mean, we saw it's pretty much a seven-person rotation. I mean, Shelley played 5 minutes, Saibo played three. They didn't score. Pretty much just a seven-person rotation. Then you add AZ Fudd, hopefully pretty soon. Aubrey Griffin's coming at some point. Who else am I forgetting? Caroline Ducharme's going to get in the mix at some point, hopefully as well. So those are players that it's going to be hard to get minutes because you had all your starters play at least 25 minutes in this one. You still have to 5 minutes for AZ, 5 minutes for Aubrey Griffin. There's probably going to be some unhappy players, unfortunately, but it's just like you said, Kyle, with all the depth and all the talent here, I feel like this is might be the deepest team. I don't know much about the history. We've had some pretty talented, squads, but yeah, I feel like the depth, especially looking at the past couple of years when we've had injury after injury after injury, to have this is a nice touch.
Yeah. I was actually at the USF game with my boss and his father, and his father was a huge UConn women's basketball fan for like since for the past 30 years, and it was actually the first time he ever went to a game. But he was saying in the car ride back, he was like, "This is the deepest UConn team I've ever watched." So it was, probably says a lot.
Yeah, the depth is going to be really key, especially when you get like towards February and bodies maybe start to wear down a bit. Just having those guys to back them up, I feel like it's going to be really huge. Moving on now. You guys got anything else? Carolina game, obviously tough win, really complete team win. I think we can move on from that. Next game for the Huskies is we have kind of one more cupcake in between this next tournament we'll be going to. We're playing FDU, Fairleigh Dickinson. We'll just do our typical players to watch for this one. You guys got players to watch for the gamers FDU after seeing what we've seen through 3 games?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm gonna go for this one with Caitlin Chen because I want to see her. I know we've kind of talked about how she's like Hassan Diarra in a couple of ways, but I would love to see her put up like 15 or 17 points and just not stop shooting the ball, especially in a game like this. I mean, Fairleigh Dickinson, they're not obviously the best competition, but I feel like this, like we just talked about in our men's episode, this is a perfect warm up for the Baja Mar tournament against Oregon State in the first game.
I'm gonna go with KK Arnold. I think KK Arnold hasn't had that big game yet that she had a decent amount last year. I mean, she hasn't hit double digits in the scoring column all season. She's due to have a big game, so I'm rather heavy with KK.
And I'm gonna go Ashlyn Shade. So I feel like she's due to obviously not a great game against North Carolina for only 3 points. She's due to get back to that double figures that we know she can get to. Usually, I feel like she can easily hit three or four threes in this game after only hitting one versus North Carolina. So I'm confident in Ashlyn Shade to have a great bounce back game. I'm not worried about her at all after a slow game versus the Tar Heels. All right, you guys got anything else before we wrap up here? Very quick episode, probably the shortest episode we've done for the women's side, but really had to talk about this Carolina game because it was a top 15 road win pretty much, even though it counts as a neutral. But yeah, next time you hear from us, we'll probably preview that Baja Mar tournament that Andrew mentioned we'll be playing in. So I don't know when that'll be. It'll be before the tournament, obviously. I don't know when that'll come out, but until next time, thank you guys for watching and stay tuned.